Everyone, this is Yoda from Team Loaded bringing you another video for nerdstomper.com. This is going to be the third video in a three-part series on Wretched Hag. And the first video covered the general strategy for Wretched Hag, including item build and skill build. And the second video covered the early game, and the clip was from the early game of this same game right here. The game that this video was actually filmed in was a recent matchmaking game that I played, where I played Wretched Hag. It looks like my allies are currently engaging someone, so when you're playing Wretched Hag, your hero is very mobile, so whenever your allies get in a fight, you should always try to get there if you can, either with teleport scrolls or with flash. Here we were quickly able to dispatch the first target, but my allies kind of pooped out on me as I started to go for a Rachna, and as a result, I was easily chased away. Generally your allies should be chasing with you when you're Wretched Hag, since you can flash after your target and keep slowing them. But in this case, it looks like my allies were kind of low HP, so they weren't able to follow up. That's alright though, because this Rachna is about to get a little bit greedy, so after picking up a rune, I'll be able to kill him. So what you're going to notice here is that instead of using wave from the fog, since he's kind of far out of range, I've blinked in and then used my nukes. It's very important that I use my nukes extremely quickly though after going in, because otherwise he would have had time to use his second skill, which would have probably made my nukes not do enough damage to finish him off. So it's very important that as soon as I popped out of vision, he was like instantly dead. It looks like my allies are fighting here at bottom, so while I'm escaping, I'm able to, since Hag is so mobile, I'm able to nuke one down and then finish him off. So it looks like I got pretty easy kills here, but after you get some kills, even after you get kills on most of their team, it's important to keep your eyes on the map, because as you saw there, I just got 3 kills, but that wasn't enough to keep me alive since their gauntlet was still sneaking up from behind. If I just run upwards towards my allies instead of just blindly running backwards, then I would have also been able to escape his attack, and probably also kill him, because after I escape him, my allies are going to be on him. And then, since I'm so mobile, I'm going to be able to dodge all of his damage while also doing damage to him. So when you play Wretched Hag, lesson to learn from this is just always keep in mind and just always have in your head where the enemy heroes are. Since generally, if Hag's not really good at just fighting heroes one-on-one, just attacking them while they attack you back, what she's good at is getting in range for a nuke and then backing off and then coming in range for a nuke again. So if there's ever an enemy hero in range to disable you or attack you, generally you should just be backing off, or even using flash if you have to. So in order for that strategy to be effective, you always have to have in your head where pretty much everyone on the enemy team is. So from that exchange, even though I died, I still got a triple kill and quite a bit of farm. So it looks like I finished book 2. So here you see me doing something I really don't generally approve of, which is teleporting to a lane to farm. But I don't really want to get in a fight right now, since since I'm about to have Puzzle Box 3, and the jump from Puzzle Box 2 to Puzzle Box 3 is gigantic. But it looks like my allies decided to engage anyway, since they don't know that I don't want to get in a fight, since I didn't say anything. So it looks like I got kind of aggressive here, since basically what you need to do with Hag, like I said earlier, is have in mind where all the enemy heroes are, and I wasn't thinking about that. I was only thinking about the enemy heroes in vision, which is why I just blinked in a 4 blindly there and died. Another bad thing about that was that it's super bad to be aggressive right now, because like I said, I'm trying to get my Puzzle Box 3 and I didn't even want to get in a fight in the first place. So one topic I was mentioning earlier but I didn't get to finish was generally don't want to TP to lane. That's because walking to lane, it doesn't take that much time, and using your teleport and having teleport scroll in your inventory active is really powerful, since you want to be able to teleport to lanes to counter gank and also set up potential teleport ganks. But teleporting to farm is just really bad, since it immobilizes your hero just on one corner of the map for however long your teleport's on cooldown. It's only good in certain situations where you definitely don't want to be teleporting to gank, because you just don't want, if you gank, it's pretty much a high risk situation. And you don't want to put yourself in a high risk situation when you just need 1,000 gold to get your hero a lot more powerful. Ideally, you want the game to go such that you've maybe farm 1,000 gold, get your Puzzle Box 3, and then you start getting into high risk, high action situations. So just controlling where your hero is on the map is a good way to control how you're engaging and what times you're fighting. and that's something that's gonna definitely benefit you if you're able to control like what times your hero is fighting and what times you're farming. On a broader perspective, that concept's also very useful for controlling what time what time your team is team fighting. Like when your team's ultimates are up, just really try hard not to get in a fight. Like stay back if you see an enemy hero, just back. But when your ultimates are all up and your heroes are in position for a fight, then you should be actively looking. Like don't be afraid if you're playing like Pharaoh or some other initiator, just go in on them. So like here, I'm basically applying that concept since I didn't chase down that Soul Reaper, even though chances are he's alone in the jungle. I still don't want to get in a fight with him because if I get in a fight with him, then I might end up chasing him, and if I chase him, he could run like close to a tower, and then I could pretty easily die since I'll have no idea where their heroes are. So instead of chasing him, I'm just gonna passively stay back and farm the neutrals. Wretched Hag is obviously one of the best heroes for controlling when you're in a fight, since Flash is not only good for attacking, it's also good for escaping. So with Wretched Hag, mastery of this concept is especially important. Something I wanted to mention earlier that I haven't had the chance to. When I checked Pyromancer's items, he right now has a Sustainer and Marchers. So Sustainer is really not a good item that you want to be buying. And the reason for that is because basically Sustainer costs 1750 gold, and it basically increases like the strength of your hero, but it's basically just like strictly worse than Bottle, and Bottle costs 600, and basically so Sustainer really isn't an item you want to buy early, because early on you want to spend your money on items that are going to make your hero a lot stronger. So examples of that would be like Marchers, upgraded boots, Bottle, and items that are specifically beneficial to your hero, like Portal Key on Pebbles, Puzzle Box on Hag, things like that. On a hero like on basically Sustainer, you should only have it if you're A, playing a melee hero and rushing for Rundax, or B, as like the last item in a recipe for something like Nullstone, or if you're getting Rundax later in the game and you got your first 2 damage items before that. So in this fight, one important thing that I did was just positioning myself far away from my teammates, such that I wouldn't get hit by Tempest Ultimate. If I got hit by Tempest Ultimate, I probably would have died and not been able to kill that Arachna. So make sure when the other team has an AoE Ultimate and you're playing Wretched Hag, always make sure you don't get hit by their AoE Ultimate. Basically, you should be able to use Flash to ensure that you don't get hit by really like any spells that people are just trying to hit your team with. If you do, chances are you're going to die because Hag is pretty fragile. So examples of ultimates like that are like Magnus Ultimate, Behemoth Ultimate, Tempest Ultimate, AoE stuns like Pyromancers. You really just don't want to get hit by any of those at the beginning of the fight. You want to just position yourself, because worst comes to worst, you can always use Flash to go into the fight if you have to. So you don't have to be worried about being too far away. Anyway, back to my earlier point about Sustainer and buying like good items for your hero. Sustainer basically like it gives you +7 damage and like very little regen, which, as I mentioned before, is just worse than a Bottle. And so sometimes you see it on a hero early, and that's because they to build a Sustainer you need to buy a Life Tube, and Life Tube is a pretty good item because it lets you sit in your lane early game and makes you really good against harassment. But Mana Tube is actually just awful because plus 100% mana regeneration is obviously, like I said, worse than Bottle and more expensive. Life Tube is also worse than Bottle, but not every hero can afford to spend 600 on a Bottle, and Life Tube is on the way to items like Helm of the Black Legion and Rundax, which are good. So here you get to see the power of Puzzle Box 3. If Pyromancer did an ultimate, which he really shouldn't have, then Puzzle Box 3 and my slow would have just killed that Soul Reaper outright by themselves. Here, look, I can chase them with Puzzle Box 3 and don't really have to worry about them turning around, because if they do, then my Puzzle Box 3 will wreck them. Also, I think I probably missed out on a gauntlet kill here because I still have a haste bottled, so and we just killed a good number of their team. So if I'd used the haste in my bottle and chased down Gauntlet, the Devourer was probably in a good position to back me up, and then I might have been able to kill the Gauntlet. But it would be a really high risk maneuver since Gauntlet is able to stun me, and I'd probably have to tank a tower to kill him. So if he stunned me while I was tanking the tower and Arachna showed up, then things would get ugly. So I didn't want to risk that. So I did not use the haste to chase him down. Here, I'm actually making pretty good use of the haste, killing this creep. I knew the creep was going to be there, because when I checked Arachna's items, I saw he had a Whispering Helm, and if they have a Whispering Helm, most people will generally be pulling their Ancients with a recruited creep. So if you're able to get rid of that creep for free, then you should always do it, because every time they pull is basically just like farming an Ancient camp. You should always look for tells from things your opponents do that can guide your gameplay like that. Like for instance, if you see a Whispering Helm, then if they're decent, which this Arachna seems to have been, then they probably recruited a creep, and you can probably find it somewhere. If they have if they're playing Magmus and they bought Fate and they bought Phase Boots or Ghost Marchers early, then it probably means their portal key is going to be really late, and you won't have to worry about his ultimate for a while, but you will have to worry about a fast approaching Magmus, so you should play careful at night, because it's possible that he could sneak up on you and just burrow strike you from even just head on, because he has Phase Boots, so he can move there for quickly. Some more tells, like if you see Mage Bane who has only a sustainer early, then chances are he's going to go for a Rune Axe. So you won't have to worry about any presence from him early game, but you will probably have to gank him so he doesn't get his fast Rune Axe, which should be pretty easy, because if he's got a sustainer early, then chances are he's not going to buy any HP, so he'll be really easy to gank. So here, since I have Puzzle Box 3, I'm pretty much just able to 1v2 pretty much any two heroes, since Puzzle Box 3 right clicking one is good enough to kill him, and I'm overfarmed enough that my ultimate and just casting 3 spells on a hero is probably enough to weaken them severely, so they have to at least run away. And if one of them's running away and the other one's getting Puzzle Box 3, then I can just chase down the one that's not getting Puzzle Box 3'd. Now if I had a different item that wasn't Puzzle Box 3, say I had, I don't know, Sheep Stick or Sacrificial Stone or even Null Stone there, then I probably wouldn't be able to get that double kill, since my Puzzle Box wouldn't have been pressuring the Tempest there, so he would have been able to freely just stun me or use his ultimate without worrying about Puzzle Box coming out, and it would have ended up pretty bad for me, since I might be protected by some extra HP and extra mana from that item, but I wouldn't have the raw power that Puzzle Box gives, so I'd just be limited in what my hero can do. So I just bottled the haste. Across the map, you can't see it, probably can't make it out on the video, but there's an Arachna that just went on someone. Again, with Hag, it's very important that you keep your eye on the map, because your hero is so mobile, especially I guess when you bottle a haster in. And killing Arachna is really good, since this Arachna has shown himself to be a pretty decent player, and killing him and making sure one of my allies lives is definitely the kind of thing I want to be doing. So a new concept I mentioned there was you wanna watch out for decent opponents, or good opponents, because they're probably more dangerous and more likely to maybe outplay you. So that Arachna, when I was soloing against him, he showed himself to be pretty decent. He checked the rune at the right times. Was decent at last hitting, and well, other than not healing in time, so I killed him, he played pretty decent. And at the fight at bottom, I don't know if it was in this video, I think it was in the first video, he recognized that he had to teleport away from me, and he also recognized that if he teleported to a closed tower, then he'd be still able to participate in the team fight, which is more than I'd expect from most Arachnas in a matchmaking game. So all those plays point to this Arachna being a pretty solid player, and on top of being a solid player, he's also playing their late game farmer hero. So basically, anytime you can kill their solid players is good, and also anytime you can kill their late game farming heroes is good. So pretty much my goal this game, if I'm not getting handed a double kill on a silver platter, I'm just going to be hunting down their Arachna if I can. The only problem is that Arachna happens to be pretty good at escaping from Hag, since his second skill not only makes him resistant to magic damage, it also takes off my first skill and my ultimate. So here you get to see more of the power of Puzzle Box 3. Basically, I was able to get that gauntlet below below half without even leaving fog, and then pretty much just killed him. Outright with Puzzle Box 3. I had to use my third skill to finish him, but Puzzle Box 3 did most of the work there. So since we just picked one off, and my Puzzle Box 3 is still alive, we're gonna try to take advantage of that and push. It's important that you, if you catch someone near the enemy base, in a later stage of the game like this, it's important that you take advantage of that, since a lot of the times I just see players pick one off in the mid game and then just not do anything, just separate and farm again, which is not what you want to do. Something important though is not to get complacent, even though if they only have 4 heroes, since a well-placed Tempest ultimate could easily just ruin you. Here, even though it was interrupted by our Devourer, I still went to like red HP and had to use most of my bottle to recover, which means I'm not able to contribute to the fight as much as I'd like to. I was still able to use the fact that Hag can just go in and out of fights and just use her bottle to heal up, which is nice and forgiving, but still, I could like this fight we could have easily just pretty much just killed most of their heroes and probably like Rax and also like Tower and Rax here if we hadn't just all bunched up for Tempest ultimate. So it's really important not to get complacent when you're pushing, especially against a Tempest, even like 4v5. One of the bonuses of Hag, of course, is that you can pick off like low HP heroes that if they think you ran away, since with Hag a lot of the time, since just generally if you're like at red HP, you're gonna most people would just run back and heal. So you might encourage the opposing team to farm like the lane with low HP, like the Plague Rider was doing there. So essentially, if you have low HP, then just going back, just hanging around is fine with Hag, since generally you can just use Flash to escape. Here it looks like Tempest, for no reason, just blinked there and started stunning me when normally a Hag would have blinked away. So I don't really know what he was doing there, but I guess you should play safe when you're playing Wretched Hag, since people could randomly like do that. So if you're not planning to go back in, which I definitely wasn't planning to there, then you should definitely play it safe and just flash like a screen away before you start teleporting. In that situation, I definitely wasn't coming back in, so using flash to get as far away as possible is definitely what I should have done. So anyway, this game actually tragically ended with a couple failed pushes from our team and Arachna getting super farmed and carrying. But the purpose of this video is to educate you on Wretched Hag's mid to late game, so hopefully you've learned a little bit from watching my errors and good plays. If enough people post in the comments that they want to see the end of this game, then I guess I'll post it and comment on it. But for now, that's all. This is the third video in a 3-part series on Wretched Hag, and this is Yoda from Team Loaded, and this video is for